Yeah, Cathy Engelbert's a joke. She is a joke. So let's take a listen to the Dan Patrick show. And this is horrendous from Cathy.
We're hoping to do an interview with Cathy Engelbert. She's the WNBA commissioner. Todd spoke to her a couple of nights ago, and we had a pairings party. Todd went up to her. She's been very friendly to the show. Last year at this event was friendly to us. And Todd said, hey, we'd love to have you on. There's a lot of questions. People have not heard answers from.
And obviously, look, everyone wants to hear from Cathy. Like, do I think most of these stuff are Cathy's doing? No. The problem is that obviously, as a commissioner, your job is essentially to be the face. Even if it's not necessarily on you, like your job is to represent the owners. Like you are not in charge of the league. You're not the CEO of the league as a company. You don't get to make decisions. You are basically the face for the owners. The problem is that being the public face of the league comes with the territory of being the commissioner of the league.
From the commissioner, and she said yes. So yesterday, after the show, we waited almost 2 hours for her. This was scheduled. She was going to do a meeting in her hotel room, a conference call, and then she was going to join us. So Fritzy, for at least 90 minutes, is looking just for an update. We're standing by, we're waiting to interview her. They didn't, balk at anything, didn't say you can't ask it.
One thing I will say is she is terrible at golf. She is terrible at golf.
Anything, and we thought, okay, we're going to be able to finally ask questions about.
Oh, this wasn't the one. There's one where they're calling her out, and she's in the sand, and she hits the ball, and it just goes to the right. It does not go straight. It goes purely to the right. And again, that's the least problem with Cathy Engelbert.
Caitlin Clark, the WNBA expansion, a lot of different things, and we waited and we waited and we waited, and then we got word. Todd did. That the commissioner said that the WNBA staff, the PR staff, said that she is not allowed to do this.
With that, I don't know where that goes. Like, am I right in saying that, like, well, to be fair, she probably is, with the PR staff, probably does have the power to veto anything she does. That being said, I got to be honest here. While the PR staff has the ability to veto what she does, that means that, she's not the big CEO. If they can just say, yeah, you're not doing this.
They would prefer that she did not do this. You're the commissioner, and you're listening to the PR department, which is fine. But did you check with PR before you said yes to us? We promoted it all day yesterday. Now, look, I know people get busy. People have agendas.
And Dan Patrick's probably happy about this because it's a bigger deal that she said yes than no.
The people
make the best of it.
Like it was her opportunity to finally say, hey, you can ask me the tough questions, okay? I thought this was going to be a good thing for the WNBA because people still want answers here. There's so many people who have an opinion, agendas here. And this was a chance to sit down. And yes, would the questions be tough? Yes. Yes.
That's why she doesn't want to answer tough questions, because the last time she was answered tough questions, she essentially said, like, I hate to say this, but she essentially said, we like the fact that racists on both sides, that people being racist against Angel Reese and racist against Caitlin Clark care about this league now. I'm like, ooh, that was not a good thing to say. That was not a good thing to say, Cathy. Like, and I was like, even though her point is where it's like, all views are good views, and I'm like, from a commissioner's perspective, where you're responsible for the owners and not for the players, like, I get it. Like, I get having that opinion, and you can argue that it makes sense, but still not a good thing to say with the players.
And I'm sure that had something to do with it. But she went on a radio station in Kansas City, but from what I was told, she was only going to be asked about expansion. They were not going to be, tough questions. So it's just disappointing. Go back to when the Caitlin Clark incident happened. We reached out to the WNBA all morning long. We needed Just give us a comment. Does anybody have a comment on this? Is anybody there at the office? We couldn't get a hold of anybody. So Paulie, during the show, is trying to track down somebody so we can at least let the WNBA have their say, have their voice, get out in front of this. We're just trying to be a journalist here. That's all.
And, I mean, he's not wrong. But the league does not want, as someone said in the comments, Cathy's, she wants to be the face of the league when things are going well. Yeah, absolutely. That's all. Like, she is in over her head. Like, Cathy Engelbert worked with Deloitte. Like, I have no doubt about it. Cathy Engelbert's a good businesswoman. And there's a lot of business things that I have no question about it. Cathy's done well for the WNBA. And I think there's a lot of people behind the scenes, maybe not the players because the players just hate her, but a lot of people behind the scenes that will be able to be talk a little bit more, like, not like, honestly is probably not the best word to use to describe, but like more truthfully about what she has done. They're like, no, she's actually been really, really good at her job. The problem is that it's not technically her job, but being the public-facing face of the league is part of your job. That is part of your job as commissioner. Even though you're probably not paid for it, for that part of your job, it is an unpaid part of your job, and there's an expectation to be that when you're in as commissioner, and she's really bad at that. She's really bad at that part.
We're just trying to ask questions, but don't say yes, and then all of a sudden somebody probably said, in my opinion, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this. Well, at some point, you have to do this. I mean, if you want to be treated as a serious league, then do these. This is what happens. These are tough questions, but this is a fair...
And if you want to be treated as a serious league, unfortunately, it's hard for him to be treated as a serious league while she's commissioner. And it's like, even with Adam Silver, like, a lot of people don't like Adam Silver. The players do. He's changed. Like, a lot of people don't like Adam Silver. Let's be very clear. A lot of people don't like him. But we got to be clear on this. There have been a lot of situations where he has had the balls to come out and speak when... a lot of bad situations. David Stern as commissioner did the same thing. It's like, it seems like Cathy thought she had a cushy job. I'm going to be the first WNBA commissioner. Nobody cares about this league. I got a cushy job. My job is to kind of keep this league alive, get a bunch of funding. And I think she did a really good job. Like, the league might not exist if Cathy Engelbert wasn't there for a while. The problem is that you are the face. You are the face. And it's clear she did not want to be that. Or she thought the WNBA was forever going to be a charity. So her just keeping the league alive was going to be a good enough to thing.
Fair outlet for you, a fair platform. I will treat you with respect. But when you tell me, and then 2 hours later with no update, and then we get a feeble response, like, come on. You don't want to do it. You won't. The commissioner of the NFL does not want to come on this show. I've been doing this for 20 years. There's a reason why he doesn't want to come on. I have no problem if he doesn't want to come on. But if he said to me, hey, I'll come on tomorrow, and then all of a sudden he says the NFL PR department said I shouldn't do it. Like, and she's 50 yards away. She's hitting practice shots out of the bunker. So that's what's disappointing. We deserve more respect than...
And from here on, obviously, he's talking about his show. That is a bad move by Cathy. I agree with that. And, like, I get Cathy not wanting to speak on this. I get it. I really, really get it. Like, you do not want to speak about this situation. You do not want to speak because they're going to ask you about the Congress shit, and it's a really bad look for your league. And I got to be honest here. It's really bad that it got to the the Congress getting involved in the league is fucking nuts. But it's bad enough that you let it get to the stage. Like, you were so reactive and not proactive in anything that you have let it get to the stage where this was deemed as acceptable. That this was deemed as acceptable. I'm like, there are people, like, there's no way, in 2024, Congress weren't getting involved. But now, you just basically, you allowed it, you allowed Caitlin Clark getting the shit beaten out of her to be a Caitlin Clark bad situation. And the league, when it went with its suspension, the league should have come out. Do you want to know what would have actually been a better thing? Do you want to know what would have actually been a better thing? To come out and say, these three referees were given the information at halftime and, I don't know, and decided not to go further with it. Based on that, we've decided that these three referees are going to be the next game they're supposed to ref. They have a 1-game suspension each. Like, if you don't know that in Europe, that's what happens. Like, if the referees miss something, yes, they can retroactively suspend somebody. But in the EuroLeague, if the referees do something crazy, they get a suspension. But it's a little bit different because I don't think there's a FIBA referees union or anything. I think it's literally I think it's a case where the referees in Europe is like, okay, in every set of games, referees from everywhere, you can find refs. You're part of like a FIBA referee qualified roster and you get assigned games. So it's a little bit different there. But like, if this happened in Europe, the referees would be suspended. The referees would get a suspension, the equivalent of the players. That if they missed it, and then after it was brought to their attention, missed it and refused to look. When you have the ability to look, and I do feel like there needs to be some sort of a VAR challenge for that. As in, if something like that is missed by the referees, teams should be allowed, the challenge rule should be basically allowed, be like, look, teams, look, you've just missed that. Go challenge that. Or there needs to be some sort of video referee to be like, look, yeah, you just missed this. Go back and take a look. But it's not. And let's be very real. The Alyssa Thomas is a dirty player. Caitlin Clark is targeted. Both of those statements are true. The people most at fault here are the refs, because if Alyssa Thomas got herself ejected from that game, none of this happens. And then we all know the Marina Mabrey situation where she didn't get a suspension and it became a big issue with protecting Caitlin Clark because she didn't get a suspension. And then the issue becomes when you do give a suspension that everything is now a case of like, oh, Caitlin bad. Look, listen to what Alyssa Thomas has had to deal with. Yeah, that's shit. It's shit. And I'm being very clear. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if Alyssa Thomas did not receive death threats, if the Dewana Bonner shit was not right. I would be shocked. Why would I be shocked? Because I've received death threats for saying, I'm pretty sure I got given, like, one of the reasons was I said Angel Reese is bad at layups. I've gotten death threats. Like, it is what it is. If it's happened to me, it definitely fucking happened to them. Let's be clear. But Cathy, and it's not Cathy's fault. The problem is Cathy gets blamed. The league, whether it's the league have to have a crisis management team. There's no way that the league doesn't have a crisis management team of section of their PR team. They needed to do better with that. They needed to do better with that.